Welcome back to the Frequency After Show. The shifts tonight were intense, and we're going to break it all down for you. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Do you see what we did there?
What? I need a ride or die chick.
We're talking ride or die chicks in honor of the one and only ride or die chick of this episode.
Jules.
Team Jules.
We're all Team Jules tonight, you guys. Welcome to the Frequency After Show. Tonight we're talking Season 1, Episode 11. I'm your host, Olivia Gabaree. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, The Real OG.
What? And it's your boy Chaos J. Ho! On this hot Wednesday. Hey! That's right. You can find me on Twitter, KAAOSJ. You can also find me on Instagram, Chaos_Oceans31. Why? Because I'm giving you 31 flavors of waviness. Get some. They're delicious. And who would you be?
I can't even compare to you two. She looks like a vampire princess queen.
But minus the dark
like
makeup, though. She just looks very, very nice.
You are so eloquent.
Very nice and attractive. I bet you beat them off with sticks today.
Yes.
Like, no!
Hey.
Stop, I have things to do.
Today.
Hey, yeah, every day. Listen,
I mean,
Cal.
every day, but, you know, today,
Especially
And he's got the
today.
gift of gab, and I'm just sitting over here on the end, and I'm Chris Howard. I'm just sitting
We all
on
bring something to the table.
Exactly.
Okay,
and
all
we
right, all
missed
right.
you last week.
We did.
I missed
Despite the
being here
fact
with
that
you
we
last
didn't
week.
shout you out, we did miss you last week.
You really missed me a lot. Chris Howard at Chris Howard Live, Twitter and Instagram. Reach out. These guys won't do it, so I need you. Oh,
Actually,
that's
we
so
don't have
sad.
your number, and I just feel weird DMing you, sliding in your DMs like, yo,
DMing
you
me,
coming
you just
tonight? You coming tonight, bro? Where you at?
We just assumed. We did wait. We waited.
We
like,
did.
Did you?
Like
I'm
10,
sorry.
15 minutes.
No shit.
And then we were like,
Oh.
You
I was like,
could.
yeah, he's probably out in the parking lot asleep.
Well, I'm sorry I missed you, but I'm glad to be here.
It's
all right,
okay.
man.
I
No
mean,
worries.
last week was a juicy episode.
It was a great episode.
We
last
left
week.
off with basically Frank and Raimi were collaborating from the present and the past. It was Frank's job to cut the Nightingale from the trunk, and although he thought he was doing so, he got intercepted by a drunk driver and got himself into a really intense car accident.
What do they call it? T-boned? Is that what he
Yeah,
said?
pretty
T-boned.
much. Yeah, he was T-boned by a drunk driver who also drove off.
He did drive off.
He did.
But he drove off after he already saw someone climb out of Frank's trunk.
Which was Deacon Joe.
Yes, because Deacon Joe was in the trunk of Frank's car. Now this episode had me realizing, at first I thought Frank made a mistake and thought Deacon Joe was dead, and he just wasn't. But now I think it's a little more clear to me. I'm not sure if you guys got that from this episode, but he was anticipating on killing him after the fact. This was just a cleaner way of getting to where he needed to be.
Yeah, exactly. He was just storing them there until they got there, and then he was going to do the deed. Because if he did it at the guy's house, there's going to be evidence. In the car, there's evidence. But if it was out in the woods...
Exactly.
Right.
So that would have been the smarter way, which I wasn't thinking. I was I left last episode upset
We
because
won't
I was
wrong
like,
you for
how
not
could you
thinking of
be
the
so
smart ways.
Dumb?
Yeah,
You know
like,
what
why
I'm
are you
saying?
still driving around with him? Yeah, like, why are you still driving around with him in your car?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just
Right.
do it already? But
Wouldn't that
again,
suck, though, if you had a body in your car, you hadn't killed him, you got your daughter's
Clarinet,
clarinet in the
yeah.
car, and to get T-boned? I mean, what worse
wasn't in
situation
his
could you be
favor.
in?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, as we've realized throughout this entire season, everything does happen for a reason. So he's going to
does.
figure out one way or another. However, we opened up this episode with Raimi. She's at the scene of the crime. This was right after she shot Deacon Joe, although he was surrendering. So,
like a gangster.
yeah, he was surrendering. So,
No, he wasn't. I'm sorry.
She shot
He
him.
wasn't surrounded.
She shot
Yeah,
him
she
like
shot
a
him like a gangster.
gangsters
Not-
don't surrender.
No, they don't. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
They're way too cool.
There's nothing gangster about that.
Exactly.
I give up. Please, no. Please, take all my guns.
Oh, you would be good on that other show.
I would be. I could do it.
Anyway, that was an inside joke. But the thing was, see, she shot him and she just didn't care because she was just waiting for the guy to disappear,
Exactly.
thinking her father was going to fix it in the past.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was it was funny to me because everything around her was so chaotic, and she was just sitting there very calmly looking at her phone, just
checking
waiting.
the time. Come on.
Right, waiting on that shift that never happened.
Right.
So now, cut to the past. We have Jules and Frank interact after Frank came home from
Having been in that accident.
having been in that accident. It was very clear to her that he was hurt. The car was damaged.
Thank God. What would have happened if he wasn't?
Right? If he just came strolling like, hey, what's up, Jules?
Yeah, missed the
What's going on,
performance.
girl?
Right, that's what
Was
I'm
it cool?
wondering.
Yeah.
But luckily, Jules is actually on his side for once.
Man.
Like, amazingly so.
I'm not going to retract everything I said about Jules. But hey, girl, you won my heart tonight.
She's come a long way.
She has.
And to be honest with you, I didn't think that she was going to react in the manner that she did. Because put yourself in her shoes. Your man comes home, right? And he's all banged up.
Hold on,
saying,
picture this. Your man comes home.
I mean, you know what I'm saying.
My man comes home.
When your man comes home.
He walk in.
And he
Kind of bruised up, but still fine.
He straight up tells you, I was about to kill somebody tonight.
Right.
And I'm sorry I missed our daughter's recital.
And it's like, hold on, wait. You can't just get past that, bro. Did you just say you were about to kill somebody
Right.
last night?
Right, exactly.
And I was ready for Jules to honestly freak out.
I was too. And then when he kept saying like, I can't tell you, like I can't explain it, which I understood why he couldn't. And I also understood why he was like, is me going into the semantics of this is just pointless because one, you're not going to believe me, and two, it's just going to make me look even that much more crazier. So I definitely got what he was doing, but the fact that she just accepted it
Right.
and didn't really push back, I was like, wait,
It's like a complete turnaround.
what did you do with the real Jules? Will the real Jules please stand up? And then even when he gave her the gun, like I was waiting for her, like, no, I'm not taking this. This is ridiculous, Frank. But we didn't get that. She was just like,
You know why though?
Okay,
It's 'cause
cool.
she's getting a little sugar on the side, and that sweetens everything.
but sugar on the side from Frank.
From Frank,
She
right.
getting that meat stick. So
What do you mean?
we're saying
Wait,
that,
she's
love
getting the
is
sugar
tainting
from
everything.
Frank?
No.
From Frank?
yeah, we're saying that basically, let's break it down for Olivia.
Break it down for
Basically,
me.
what we're saying is that she was more amenable to hearing what he had to say, to accepting things the way he was explaining them, and just kind of going with the flow because, you know, she been getting that good.
Okay, I agree with you there that since love is involved, she's a little bit more trusting of him.
Yes.
However, I think she's willing to take the gun and be involved in the situation because he made it very clear that her life was on the line as well.
Which he should have done earlier. We said that before.
Right.
Just tell her.
Just
that he
tell
knows who
her,
you are,
like, yo,
and
the
he's after
Nightingale
you.
low-key
Yeah.
wants your cash and prizes.
And I think that's what finally did it for her because he was like, look, the Nightingale knows who I am and the Nightingale knows who you are and he's coming for us. So
Right.
it's either we're prepared and we take this head on or we just, ignorance is bliss and we just die in the end, you know?
Right? Or just wait to see what happens. But yeah, I mean, she took it like a champ, and then not only
she,
that,
as a person, she's more attractive as a character now.
yes, she
Before-
is
like, seriously,
low
maybe
key,
Maybe from
like
from
a
the
boy?
male perspective.
from the male perspective, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, but come on, you wasn't not that you're attracted to Jules, but you
Right.
wasn't really rocking with Jules. You wasn't team Jules.
I mean, I
Right.
wasn't
because
just,
you didn't understand why she just constantly had to fight him at each and every step of the way.
Why
And
was she being such a bitch?
well,
And there
Okay.
you have
Have we
it.
said it? I mean, that's it, right?
And there
okay,
you
I
have
wouldn't
it.
go that far, but what in Jules' defense, we see her in this light because we have it from an audience's perspective.
Right.
However, if we were her or even one of her friends and saw it from their perspective where it's very limited, she doesn't know as many details as we know, she may be acting in the right.
And then she brings it all around and makes us feel like crap. Hey.
You know, this is what
but
I'm
we
here
like it.
for.
We're all team
But no,
Jules
but
now.
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you're right. We know so much more than she does in that world. So it is an unfair assessment. And she should be given the BOD,
Thank
aka the
you.
benefit of the doubt. And the real OG is right Ding, ding, ding. One for you.
Hey,
Bam.
well, she gets a BOD because she is a DAB.
A down ass bitch. In case you didn't know what that
In
meant.
case the viewers at home don't know what a
DAB?
DAB
She's a DAB.
And Chris doesn't know
I'm
what
a DAB.
She's a DAB. She's a ROD. Hey, man.
I know pity something.
Petty pass.
Petty
Petty
pass.
pass.
But that's not applicable
No,
in
she
this
gets
context.
a petty pass for before because now she's with us. That works.
No.
That so works.
It
No, it
does.
does.
You're saying that she gets a
You're
petty
using
pass.
it in the correct context. However, I don't think I would award her one.
No,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Okay, so well, no, I'll let you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I'll let you finish, and then I'll just tag team. Come on, let's go.
So we'll just continue on the path of the past. Jules is aware of this whole entire situation, right? He comes home with the banged up car, everything else, and now they're working together to find a solution to this problem.
Mind you, he's still got to go into work the next day,
Yep.
worried about the fact that this Crown Vic that belongs to the precinct is banged up, so he knows he can't drive it, and he has to get it fixed, and it's sustained enough damage that it's not going to be a quick.
Gonna stand out.
Right.
Internal affairs are after him.
No,
They're
that's
after
after.
Or they're
Raimi.
after the car.
They're after Raimi.
Well, internal affairs.
No.
after Raimi.
It's
no,
after
but they're looking for the
Raimi.
car too. They're looking for his car,
Right. Well,
Oh.
right, but it wasn't.
But
It was
they're
just the
after-
police department.
but it was the inside. They're saying, "Hey, we're counting the
No.
cars." Yeah, they were counting the cars.
I don't
No,
think
right,
they
it
were
was-
counting the cars, but
but
I
it
don't think
wasn't-
it
it
was
wasn't
an
IA.
internal
It wasn't- you're
affair.
saying
Right. It was
wasn't
just they're just doing accountability.
Okay,
because
you're
of
right,
the
you're
drunk,
right, you're right.
Right, because of the drunk driver
Yeah.
and because of the fact that he said that he hit a car that had lights in there. So they're like, okay, it's got to be somebody's
Yeah.
car from somebody's precinct. Let's figure out, do accountability. And then that's when we get Satch with his old shady ass.
Yeah, right. So Satch knew something was up from the jump. I mean, Frank did look a little bit nervous once they came to him being like, we just need your card to account for to make sure this wasn't you. And you could definitely tell that he was panicking at that point. So Satch smelled something. He knew what was up. They're really good friends. They had been really good friends for a long time. Just as you would know if something was up with your
Right.
best friend,
Now, do we like
However,
Satch much at this point?
No. Because at this
I don't
point,
hate Satch.
I'm disappointed in
But
him.
I'm very disappointed in Satch.
So-
Like if I see you on the streets, bro, I'm letting you know, Makai. I'm just saying.
Makai.
But you know what though? The problem is that's when somebody has something on you. So don't let people get shit on you.
I mean, that would be the ultimate goal, but then it's like, how can you really live? Accidents happen,
Accidents happen, but if he had done the right thing in the beginning and just said, because it didn't look like.
But
we
we're
pushed that guy
not
off the
there
roof.
yet,
All right, well, son of a
Chris.
bitch! I'm
We're
just
not
Well, we
there
could we
yet.
could say,
could
so
say.
Satch came up, rolled up on Jules, trying to weasel his way in there and figure out what was going on with Frank.
Right.
Now, this
So
is the
what happened yesterday? What
this
happened
is
last
the
night?
prime example of why Jules is a D.
This was a DAP.
I couldn't even. I was like, "Girl,
DAP?
yes." She knew, and she was so quick on her feet. He was questioning her, and she played along with it because I'm not even sure I would have played along with it. I probably would have been like, "What's up? What is it that you want? Why are you questioning me? No, you're not going in my garage." But she had a whole entire plan cooking in her head
was
this
working
whole
it. She
time.
was smooth.
She was working it, and I loved it.
Well, yeah, because he said, I was out, and he stayed with Raimi, and they rented the movie. Oh, for real? What movie? Oh, Twister. Like what? She didn't even miss a beat.
Yeah.
Twister. I was like, oh yeah, they did watch Twister. Like I believed it. I was thinking like, I should watch that
but
when I go home
Mr.
tonight.
Beat was not telling Frank about the story. You got to tell him about the story afterwards.
Right,
But she was
right,
acting
but she
on her toes.
She was good.
Not,
in the
right,
scene.
not only
Yeah.
that, but he hadn't been home yet, so she hadn't had a chance.
All right.
And '96, I'm guessing they wasn't really rocking with the cell phones and the
So we're gonna
two-ways
give her
at
a
that
pass.
point. So, but she doesn't need a pass in this situation.
She wasn't acting
Okay.
petty.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
wasn't
not
being
a petty
petty.
pass. I wasn't
Oh,
talking
just
a
about
pass on
a regular
A
pass.
general
yeah,
pass.
just a general
GA.
pass. Yeah, she gets a general
Generation.
pass.
GP.
I mean, although she doesn't need it, I mean, she held it down, and then so then it goes from, oh well, do you mind, if I just look in the garage anyway? And then she said, okay, but look, what are you looking for? What are you trying to find? What is it?
That
What's
was
going on?
good.
Like you already blew up his spot with Stan, and like you guys go way back, and now you're on this witch hunt. Like, what is it? Like, what do you want? Like, what are you doing?
That was so good because if she had just said, "Yeah, go in the garage," it wouldn't have been
So
as
then,
cool.
I like the way she did that because, granted, while all of it was true,
Right.
she made him feel bad. So then that made him feel even worse.
Stacked it for when he
and
was
I
in
was
there.
really
She was
thinking
being a woman.
she was
She
good.
thought it through.
But I was thinking like, okay, he's just gonna be like, okay, you know what, you're right, Jules, and he wasn't gonna look. But then he went, but then he came out. Frank pulls up like, yo, what are you doing in my house? Talking to my wife.
And you could tell he was panicking. But he and Jules played it off pretty well because although his face was saying, "Oh shit," he still went along with it because he knew she was like, "The garage is unlocked.
Let him look. Let him look.
Let him look."
Yeah.
And
Now, how
sure
cool
enough,
was that she had it done?
that's
That's
why.
And that's why.
Yeah.
And that is why we
She's
dedicated
a
that song to
ride or
her.
die.
And that is why she is a ROD to the fullest.
I love it. I really did love it.
And he looked at it. I mean, like Satch was speechless. He couldn't say anything but just, "I'm sorry." And even then, I still felt like it was a half-ass sorry, but I'll take it.
Right, and I'm wondering now what made him look into this any deeper because he had all the proof that he needed.
Yeah,
The
you'd think that
car
would
was
be
the
enough,
main
right?
piece of evidence, but that just wasn't enough for him. He went as far as tricking Frank into telling him that, pretty much admitting that he was lying because he didn't know, he wasn't hip to what movie they watched that night,
Right. So he still knew something was up. He knew something was up. The car was all right.
He
but
sounded
something
like
was up.
such a simp, though. Just tell me what I can do to make it right.
I didn't believe him. I wouldn't have believed him. I wouldn't have trusted him at that point. After
No,
what he
and
did.
then like he just sounded like such a punk. But I get it. Like, that's your homeboy. Y'all go back like 4 flats on the Cadillac. So like, you really don't want to beef with your homeboy. Like,
Right.
I get it. He just sounded like a punk talking about I just want to know what I can do to make it right. Me.
just like that.
Just like that. It's
Me.
exactly me. Like, I was like, whoa, are you a cat right now, bro? Like, what's going on? I thought you were, a strong cop, but you're a cat, apparently, who wants to make it right with his friend. So
Can we get to the part that I wanted to get to now?
okay. Well, I was just going to talk about us finding
anyway.
out, what it was that Stan had over Satch.
Which we all thought. We all thought that he had something
Exactly,
over Satch.
and Frank knew
But we
it.
knew. I mean, I think it was obvious.
It was probably pretty obvious, but it was like, why was he doing it? Was he in with Stan? Was he
And
not in
even
with Stan?
right, and I mean, and then he'll go on to explain that he was due, like, it's time to pay up,
So he
bro.
killed the guy.
and he had to pay his debt by ratting on Frank.
But that was a long.
It was circumstantial.
It was so long ago, though, that I can't even believe that this was the circumstance that he had to pay Moreno back
see,
with.
Right, and
This was like 20 years
It makes
ago.
far less
and
sense.
it just and for me, I just felt like it was so weak because given the fact that you got into an altercation with this guy while you were, after being in pursuit of him, and to the point where he's attacking you, like, at this point, anything you do
Should be justified.
is justified. It's
Yeah.
self-defense.
Yeah.
So granted, dude fell off the roof, but hey, we were tussling because
guy
he was
fell off
trying,
the roof, yeah.
and he fell off the roof.
That's why you got to tell the
Simple.
truth to begin with, number one. But number two, it's like
Like, there's no need to cover that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have to do extra paperwork. Yeah, you're going to get interrogated 1,000,000 times by IA. But at the end of the day, like, you really were defending yourself. You have the bruises to prove
But
it.
what didn't make sense was it was like 1 for 1. Okay, you covered for me that time. Now I owe you one, so I'm going to turn in my buddy. Because it
It doesn't
make
equal
sense
to me.
No,
No, not at all. And then the fact that it was that long before
But what was
something
more
else
likely-
happened to where he had to pay his debt.
What would
Exactly.
have been more realistic is it was just said, yeah, I can't speak out, or I've got to ride the line right now because he has this over me. He knows I killed this guy. That would make more sense than I had to pay him back.
Right.
That kind of sounded like bullshit, didn't it?
Yeah, but he had to justify what he did. At the
Right.
end of the day, he's like, this big tough dude. He's not gonna act petty and say, sorry, man, I had to throw you under the bus. Like, I was stuck in the situation. Like,
He closed his eyes like that and
Yeah.
his lips
Yeah,
like
that's exactly how he did it.
He said it.
I,
That's what he looks like when he said it.
Hey, I thought it was Mackay Pfeiffer sitting here. I was like,
I thought it
whoa.
did a
I
pretty
was like,
good
Mackay,
impression.
you got really light on me, bro. I like your hair though.
You look just like Stan, yeah.
But I think
what's his
it
name?
goes to show that Moreno was who he was from the beginning, because he was the one trying to convince Satch, like, dude, you got a family, like you can't be caught up in this.
You don't have time for this.
He
Like
was
you
egging
just
him on,
like
and
this
that
is
was
how
the
we're gonna play
result.
this, and that's it. So then it's funny because then you jump back to the beginning when Satch is like, so what are we gonna do? This is a Nightingale killer, like, and he says, we all gotta play by the rules.
Stan said that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait.
Come again?
I'm sorry. Come again. Come again, Pot. Come again, Mr. Pot. Calling the kettle black. We all gotta play by the rules. I was like, no, this boy didn't.
It's fun. It's pretty ironic, actually.
It is. It is.
Don't you think?
I do
Do
think.
you remember
Yeah.
that song? Isn't it ironic? Is that what she says? Don't you think? Okay, anyway.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
It's Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know that song.
And then it's like, it's
Yeah.
like rain.
Oh, okay, now I know that
rain.
song.
Oh, rain. It's like rain.
That was
Okay.
good. It sounded just like the song.
Right? I bet it did. The song
I
that
thought
you've
we
never
were playing
heard.
it in the booth.
You were like, is that Alanis? No, it's just
No,
Kelly.
it's
Just
So in the meantime, since Frank has caught himself in this situation, people are onto him, and he needs to find a way out while not putting his life and his family's life at risk. So I'm not sure if we should go. We could go here.
We can go anywhere we want. This is our show.
Yeah, right. Before he sets up this plan, he just pretty much needs to eliminate Deacon Joe. He needs to cut it right from the trunk. So he sneaks into his house and ready to kill him, but then the deacon gets a visitor. And he answers the door. It's this woman from church. She alerts him that, look, we think that you stole this money, when in reality, it was Frank who stole the money. He just couldn't execute
See, I was
his
confused
plan.
at first when he was going in for the money. I'm like, what's going on here? Were you confused at all? Or
No,
did you
I was kind of
yeah,
honest.
you guys had it. You were-
Well, we knew because we saw earlier in like what 2 episodes ago where he stole that money in order to set him up. It might even have been last
Okay,
week.
I didn't remember
It was
that.
it was last
Was it
week.
last week?
I knew that he stole the money from the church because that was just gonna be a part of
So it was
his
just an
plan.
idea
It
that
was
they could
supposed
use
to look
the-
like
yeah.
Deacon Joe was just taking off and missing and took this money in order to live
but it
his
backfired
life.
because he didn't die.
Exactly. And now the money's just missing and Deacon Joe is still present.
Right.
And first of all, when he answered that door, I was like, girl, you're gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
Right,
get
talking
out
about,
of
I'm
get
sorry,
outta
where
here.
are my manners? Don't you
Yeah.
come in for some tea? And I'm like, you're not going to get to drink that tea, Patty. Like, you about to catch
I was
it.
just like, shoot him. Shoot
Like,
him.
Patty is about to catch it.
Yeah, well, you wanted to
And not
shoot him.
the good kind.
But then he hears that the cops are going to come and they want to search the place. So now if he shoots him in that place, he's screwed because there's
Yep.
going to be cops swarming on him.
Yeah, pretty
exactly.
much.
So his plan probably switched right then and there,
had to,
but
yeah.
that wasn't the only thing that switched.
What else switched?
The whole entire universe switched at that point.
Pretty much because
Patty
she...
shifted the universe.
But that's what
Well,
he wrote.
because
He wrote shift really big.
I did.
Those are
Really
his notes.
just large.
Shift.
Well, because not only did... You're right. Everything changes because we see... Shortly after the opening, when she gets back to the station and you see everyone congratulating her, and that threw me off at first because I'm like,
too,
oh
yeah.
wait, the shift already happened,
100%.
and and they're congratulating her, and she's cool now, she's in the clear. But then we see, nah, man, it's just gonna get worse, and they're calling it a bad shoot, and you're gonna have to talk to him. She gets in the interrogation room, and then bam, Gordo Senior jumps in.
Yep.
Swoops in, saves the day. I'm gonna be your lawyer, and then they leave. So then, as they leave, he's telling her like, "Oh, it's really bad." Blah blah blah. Fast forward to the next day because she goes home, and they're telling her.
Did you pick up? I don't mean to interrupt your stream of thought. That it was Gordo Senior in the store that saw Frank early on. too?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you guys make that connection?
Yeah, we
okay,
made
all
that.
right, we
yeah.
got that.
Yeah. That's
All
why.
right.
That's why I say Gordo Senior.
All right,
So. So then we see the next day she's walking in with Gordo or Gordon, And he's telling her like, yeah, it's bad, like the shit hit the fan, Raimi. And then as she walks in, she starts talking to Satch, and then he's like, yeah, he just came in.
Who comes on walking by, right? It's
Deacon
Deacon
Joe.
Joe.
Oh yeah.
And,
And then
that's when I was like,
and then she's like, wait, what? What's going on? And then that's when you realize, and she's got her badge, she's got her gun, you know. She
Yeah,
had
but
some
it's
mints in her
changed.
pocket,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
that's when you realize, like, everything changed.
Everything should.
so to break down this shift, I mean, Raimi sort of broke it down for us in the episode, but just to reiterate what she was saying is, so because Patty went to Deacon Joe's house and said, the police are going to search your home for this money, this missing money that we suspect that you stole from the church, his whole entire world turned upside down, because at that point, whether he had his wife in the closet or not, he knew that he had to get rid of her because it would surface when the cops were searching him. And now
Everything changed. Yeah.
right, and because of that, the whole entire situation changed in the present, because that would mean that in the present, Raimi never found that body, which means the police would have never been on to Deacon Joe, and Raimi would have never heard Megan scream in the house, and the police would have never set up a sting, and therefore they wouldn't have even been present for Deacon Joe to be running from them, and Raimi would have never got the opportunity to shoot him because she just wasn't there.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Well
now
said.
it's like we're almost starting from point A again.
Yeah, and God knows what happened then. I mean,
With the exception of the fact that we know that it's Deacon Joe.
Yeah, pretty much all we know is that it's Deacon
we
Joe.
still think we know that, right?
We think from Raimi's perspective, she knows
Right.
it's Deacon Joe.
And from Frank's.
But now it's a completely different dynamic, because every type of evidence or every storyline she had on him just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So now she's stuck.
Because we were saying before the show that we thought that maybe it might not be him. It seemed too obvious. But now, it's like maybe it will be, because there's only 2 episodes left. You know?
Not
So it's
only that, but on the flip side of things, we see where
You've
he's
been to
sitting.
the flip side?
I've been to the flip side,
Yeah.
and it's
What's
actually
it like over there?
It's actually pretty cool. Everything's flipped over.
Yeah.
The temperature is nice. It's about mid-70s.
Pleasant.
It's always sunny.
Always.
Right.
Right,
But it's
yeah,
always sunny at night, and
Right.
it's not sunny during the day. It's actually very
Except
dark.
for the flip side. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, I get it.
that's
That
in
is
the flip side. It's because
Okay.
it's flipped.
Got it.
Right,
Got it.
right.
So what was the flip side?
So on the flip side, we see Deacon Joe having a talk with Megan at the dinner table, or at a table
Right.
of some sort, and he's kind of chastising her for her most recent screw up, which we're still not clear.
No,
on.
he thinks that she
Oh,
tipped
that's right.
Frank off.
That
Yeah.
she tipped them off. So
Yes.
he's chastising her
Tipped
about
Raimi
that.
off, because this is what's happening in
Oh.
the present now.
Right.
Because remember, once Raimi saw Deacon Joe walk by her in the station, she kind of made a fool of herself, pulling a gun on him and being like, "You're guilty. The
Right.
body's in the closet."
They all
and they
go
looked,
out
and it
and
wasn't there.
Oh, you're right.
But he
You're right.
probably figures that Megan was the only
are
one
right,
that
yeah.
knew this type of
Like,
information.
how would she know?
100%.
Right.
Because he's unaware of this whole ham situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So to him, Megan's the only
Person who could
rational,
speak up, yeah.
rational person
Right.
that it could possibly be.
Right. And then so he's chastising her about that, and then he mentions something about the like, oh, you think I killed your mom.
And he
then
said that. He said,
something
I didn't
about the
kill your
brother.
mom. I didn't kill your
Right.
brother. You're making up your lies again, your stories. And he's playing with his beads. He's into beads.
The rosary beads, which is his
sure they ain't the only beads he's
signature.
wearing.
Well, the Nightingale's signature.
Right.
MO. So, I mean, while that was happening, simultaneously, Frank was trying to come up with a different scenario that he could use to intercept the Nightingale. So basically what he did was he planted the money inside Deacon Joe's house and tipped off the police, saying that he saw a green duffel bag in there. He didn't want to release his identity, but something suspicious is going on and it needs to be checked out.
Right.
So
Smart.
while... Right,
Yeah.
and I kind of figured he would go that route.
Really? I was thinking, shit, what's he gonna do? You
Well,
know, there's
because
like-
after him and Jules's talk, I knew that he had to come up with something smarter than just murdering him.
Right.
Because he was realizing how much he truly had to lose.
Right. She was like, I just want you to come home.
Right, and it was kind of ironic because after he watched the police roll in, he called her and he was like, I'm coming home. And I was like, oh.
And I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but I heard the splash. And I'm like, it's about to go down, baby number 2.
Oh, my
What?
goodness. I see what you're saying here.
She got it.
Yeah, all right.
But
We'll leave that between the two of you.
so, but in the present, he's with Megan, and Ramey's nervous because she saw this pickup truck following her, but it wasn't really clear it still isn't really clear to me whose truck that is and what Kyle said that made her feel so
Right.
threatened.
You got a point. They said it was a woman's. I wonder if it was.
She looks like a rugby player.
I wonder if it was the ex-wife or something that he had killed. I don't know. You know, because it seems like it must have been him.
Yeah.
Must have been Deacon.
I'm not sure. I mean, if you guys have picked up anything that we didn't at that point, definitely, comment and let us know what you think about it, because that maybe it's just a loose end that's going to be tied up that we
Right.
or I'm not sure if we're missing something, but that truck and whoever was in that truck made Ramey feel threatened. So that's definitely a prominent clue in this situation. But however, now Ramey's nervous because she picked up on the fact that the Deacon is probably blaming Megan for the reason why Ramey was so suspicious, because there's just no other logical solution.
Right.
So she goes and tries to intercept this just as she had in the alternative present, right? Because this is how she found the body and found everything else, because she was intercepting Megan and Deacon Joe. So now she's doing it again, and when she finally gets there, yeah, she screams just as she had in the alternative present, but this time it's a little bit different.
Yeah, this time she didn't get shot in the face.
Yeah, but there's also didn't that cabin look a little bit more alive than it did in other versions of it? Because like the fire's going and it just seemed like a nice warm.
It seems like a home.
place. Yeah, it seems
Right.
lived in.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just a place to do cleansing.
Right.
Yeah, so the whole entire story got thrown off, and everything that we thought got thrown off, because the episode concludes with Megan laying there with who
Her
she
brother
says
in
is
her
her
arm.
brother.
And he's bleeding.
And he's
Bloody,
bleeding from the
like,
mouth.
He's right, and we don't know what happened to him,
She said,
and
"This is
how
my
he
brother."
got there.
Right, and up until
Right.
this point, she thought he was dead.
Right.
Yeah, and so did we. I mean, mostly, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I hit her up like, "Hey, girl, where's your brother at?" And she's like, "I think he's dead." You know? And I was like, "Oh, damn."
She kept saying that
party
her father
back.
killed him. But this is what we said before, that could it be the brother that was the killer?
Right.
You know? And
Because Deacon Joe made it a point to say, your brother understood me, but he was weak because he revealed everything to you, and he
Right.
got you going on your crazy stories.
now is it possible there's a brother and the father, right?
I mean, anything's possible at this point.
We have 2 episodes left. Hopefully, it is not the only 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's sad that it's going to end because this is such a
I think
great
it's getting
show.
good.
And it
Yeah,
is.
it's one of the- it's one of the better
again,
shows
it's
out
one
there.
of those things, like I said, many moons ago, was that, there are some shows that need to just get some legs under them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those prime examples. This is a really good show. It's a solid show.
Fantastic,
and
yeah.
if they just gave it a little bit more time, I'm pretty sure the fan base will improve. The ratings will slowly start
Well,
to.
you got the time slot too, but it's in a 9 o'clock time slot. That's not the easiest. It's
Right,
it's
but
not prime
it's-
time, but
And they do have some strong competition, but at the same time, CW has a really good following when it comes to the people that watch all their other content, like
Right.
iZombie and Arrow and
Right.
Flash and now Supergirl and stuff like that. So I really felt like, as with what they're doing now, where they're jumping the shark and giving us
crossovers and
so
all that,
much,
yeah.
I feel like they're jumping the shark by not making the second order, or not making an order for additional episodes. And I hope that it's one of those things that if if they decide ultimately that they're not going to pick it up, to say like Hulu picks it up.
Right, someone else grabs it.
Or
Because
even
it is
Netflix.
good. It is that good.
It really
deserves
is
to be made.
that good. It's you know, there's not a lot of times where you see a show that's based off of a movie be very well written and be good. And this is one of those shows.
I think I
That's a really
appreciate
good
the
point.
fact that it's so clever in the writing and in the plot. I appreciate shows that give you twists and turns and have you trying to figure out, what is it that's going to happen, and even stuff that is happening is still blowing my mind.
Right.
Like this, how it ended. Tonight's episode ended with the brother actually being alive and laying there in Megan's arms.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We had to rewatch the end. Like,
Yeah.
wait, what did we miss? And we didn't miss anything.
We just
they
couldn't
just
believe
threw
it.
that extra
Yeah.
thing, and they're like, "Oh, you thought you knew what was going down? Bam! No, you don't. Shut up. Don't talk." And they were like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'll never guess again."
You said that you thought that this was good from the movie. I think this was actually better than the movie. I think the TV series is.
I
actually-
was hesitant to say it, but
Really?
it is really true. I didn't want to get slaughtered in the comments.
Right.
Let's give a small little shout out to your boy Daniel showing up. What was in that box? Was it cupcakes?
Donuts.
Oh, it was donuts.
Donuts.
Still weak. I'm kind of low
Donuts
key.
and wine.
I'm kind of off Daniel now. Like,
I'm over Daniel.
Right?
And he
Like-
broke up with his fiance and everything, and I couldn't really read what Raimi was thinking, but hopefully she was thinking about Kyle instead.
exactly, because they had that
with
moment
that,
at the
though.
end of the episode, and that was so
Right.
nice.
And then she's got her best friend who's saying that he's in Kyle's camp. And,
Yep. You see,
Right.
everyone's team Kyle.
Wow.
Everyone's
And
team
what I'm
Kyle. Like
thinking-
we're over Daniel 2.0, and I say Daniel 2.0 because we like the first version
Right.
in that first timeline, but on this one,
Doesn't it seem kind of effeminate?
Super
and
weak.
Kind of weak and,
but
I ain't even gonna go that far. He's a punk.
But listen,
Go
what
back
does
to
it
your-
say?
go
you
back
don't go that far. He's a
Shit.
punk.
What
He's
does
a
it say
punk.
about his character for him to? It's like I can't decide if it's romantic that he broke up with his fiance because he loves Raimi so much, or he's a scumbag because he straight up just dropped this chick
Right.
for someone who, in his world, he just met.
Lit him up for the moment.
I
yeah.
low key think that it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
Just because there is that thing where, even though he didn't really, in this current timeline, he hadn't met he didn't have the history with Raimi that he did in the first timeline, but there's still that sense of familiarity
Kinda
and
that
that
magic soul.
and that,
yes.
right, that whole
Past life
chemistry,
shit, yeah.
right, like we were together in the past life.
Yes, I know.
Like, like one of those things. So I feel like you kind of had that working, in addition to the fact that he's just like, yeah, like this chick is hot, and blah blah blah, blah blah blah. So I feel like you
I'll
had
take that
a
ring
few
back.
things playing at his heart and his mind, and making him feel like, okay, I know that I felt this way about this girl, but
we just don't
there's
like him,
something
right?
that's drawing me to Raimi.
We don't like the guy though.
And yeah, at this point, I'm like, you're kind of low key. You're a tool.
Lame.
And lame.
Lame.
And I can't rock with you. And then they introduced Kyle as a wild card, I think. And now we're seeing Kyle's a pretty good dude.
Right. I'm Team Kyle.
And Raimi likes his meat stick, so girl, get that meat stick. His seasoned beef is better than Daniel's.
Slash.
I'm just saying.
Okay,
up what you
so
put down
we only
before.
have a couple minutes left. Let's just hit up predictions real quick. What do you guys think is in store for the last 2 episodes? What do you think's up with the Nightingale?
Man.
It's tough.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and stick to my guns. Nightingale's still Deacon Joe. I don't really feel like the brother had anything to do with it. So at first I was gonna be like, yeah, and him and the brother are working together. No, Deacon Joe's just is a solo dude. He's doing
Right.
this solo.
But there's a reason why the brother had been missing for this long.
oh, of course.
And I would love to
Of
see
course.
the reasoning behind that.
Very true.
I'm not sure that he's like an accomplice, but maybe he felt threatened by Deacon Joe as well in a different way, and he really did choose to run away because he was scared.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in your camp now that I think it's probably going to be just Deacon Joe. I think I'm going to vote. I'm going to put a vote in that Jules gets to hear her daughter in the future as well. I'd like to see that.
I
would
would
love
like to
that.
see that too. That would give Frank so much legitimate or validity to to everything that's going on, and that would also probably help to reassure her that, hey, you know what? Even though he was undercover for 2 years and he's got all these different things going on with the Nightingale, he's not batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he legit, like there's just some craziness going on with this ham radio, and now I understand.
Now she gets it,
For
so that's a
me,
vote,
I really just want to know more with the whole Deacon Joe storyline, with the Shop Brothers storyline. I want to also just see Jules and Frank continue to get tighter, because I feel like even with all of this drama going on, like I feel like their bond is getting really tighter. They're really back on the same wavelength.
See, what I also think though, in the next 2 episodes, they're going to wrap it up some way where Stan gets what's coming to him. I don't think they're going to let Stan just go on being dirty and get away with it. They're going to wrap that up. They're going to wrap up Deacon Jones. And I think that the lawyer, her best friend's father, is going to end up having to defend Frank back in the day. So just as he defended Rainey, he's going to have to defend Frank.
Okay.
Okay.
I think something's going to happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction.
Nice.
Oh, hey, thank you. You brought me for a
See
reason.
what happens? See what happens? We let
do
him
bring
get
something
we
to
let,
the table.
we let him get a week off, and he comes back just throwing them. Bam, bam, bam.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave us comments with your predictions and let us know what you think is in store for the rest of the season. I'm your host, Olivia Gabaree. Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, The Real OG.
It's your boy Chaos J, KAOSJ, Twitter, Instagram, Chaos_Oceans 31. 31 flavors of waviness.
Get you some.
They're delicious.
Splash. I think
Yum
you need to
yum
add a
in your tum
splash.
tum.
Waves flavor.
We're not gonna have a splash in this context.
Okay, Chris Howard. Reach
gonna
out
keep
at
it-
Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
Thanks for trying to make Splash happen, though.
Hey, yeah. Hey,
See you
we'll
guys
bring it back
next
next
week.
episode.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.